All right, we're live. We're live. I'm gonna let you guys catch up a little bit. Let me just do this thing. So what I want to get into on this one, you guys, of course, you already know we're talking about Bitcoin at 52,000. Okay, so if you thought it wasn't gonna be like that, you're wrong. Let me share this in a couple little spots, y'all. A couple little spots. I want people to pay attention to this one. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my YouTube channel, CryptTalk Podcast, in the description when I end this. But for that, what I want to do, I'm just going to show you some things. And if you can catch it, you can catch it. If you can't catch it, then just learn the fundamentals and you'll catch up. It ain't gonna be for everybody because on the real, not everyone is really going to do anything necessary to accomplish wealth. Some people really are just gonna sit up and complain or make excuses because they're missing out on an opportunity and then complain that they're in the same condition. This is just unfortunately what our people do a little bit too much, a little disproportionately. We're up on all the new trends when it comes to the new iPhone, the new this and the new dance and the Bust It challenge and all this bullshit. But when we're speaking about some real things you can do to actually change your life, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of the resistance that I get and that I have been getting, even though it's less and less now, I'm starting to see that more people are starting to understand this Bitcoin and post about it. You ain't giving props because but that's okay. The point is, I'm seeing more people are starting to get into it. That's a beautiful thing because now I can have more sophisticated conversations and strategies. See, when I've been speaking about this Bitcoin for all this time, I wasn't just speaking of it as an individual flex. I was saying like, yo, learn this. Is revolutionary as most of my friends claim they are on their Facebook. If you don't understand this Bitcoin, you don't understand the next level of controlling, of having financial sovereignty, not just individually, but collectively. The way that we can maneuver to move our money within ourselves. So we speak about dollar circulating, and this race circulates the dollar this many times, and we keep the dollar for 6 hours and all this. Nah, we could really step that up in ways, and we can leverage things in ways that I'm telling you, it's not possible with the banks. But let me just put this in one more spot before. Let me see here what we got. There we go. All right. So here we go. So what I'm gonna show you guys real quick. Let's just look over the fundamentals. Let's just look over like the market right now. Okay. So you see Bitcoin is at 52,000. Now keep in mind it was like, what was it, like November, September? It was like not even 20,000. It just hit 20,000 before the year closed. Okay, that's almost 3 times flip. Your money ain't doing that. You have a market cap right now of 1.5 trillion. You have cryptocurrencies, and here's what I want you to pay attention to. Because I want to explain something to you. 8,500 different cryptocurrencies. That number will probably be about 10,000 by the end of the year. But who cares? Because 99.9, and this is no cap, 99.9% of these cryptocurrencies are garbage. They're pumps, they're trash, they're what I call thought coins. You can pump off of them, but you better get off them. Don't boo up. You know what I'm saying? Boo up with the Bitcoin and Ethereums. Because 99% of these cryptos are garbage. And let me say this too, because I know a lot of people hesitant to get into this crypto because they think it's a big scam because they get all these damn spam bots and Bitcoin miners, quote unquote, asking you for friend requests or up in your inbox, hey, just send me $50 and you'll make 500 in 3 days and all that. That's all cap. The only way you're really going to fall for any of these shenanigans in the Bitcoin is if you're very, very foolish, if you're doing things you don't know what you're doing, or if you're really thinking you're going to get rich quick overnight. There's no investment that's going to happen with. And as much as people say it's not good as short term and it's not this and that, look, there's no other better performing asset the last 10 years, period. So that means, yeah, you could flip off of different investments, but you can't stay in those investments. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's something you want to just park your money and know for sure, it's not just going to hedge against inflation, but it's going to accumulate wealth over time. It's something that you can actually pass down to generations. Because if you put your children on this, then you're stacking it up. When they get your age, our age, that Bitcoin will be worth that much more, and then they can hand that down. It's a store of value. that could be liquidated because it's liquid anyway. So here we go, Bitcoin. And the reason why I'm saying this about the cryptocurrencies, 8,500 cryptocurrencies, 99.9% are garbage. Okay, 99.9. That means only a couple dozen are even worth looking at. Period. Now, some of them you can use for a short-term pump if you know how to maneuver. But if you don't know how to deal with Bitcoin, you're not going to be able to deal with any of the other cryptos anyway. So stay focused on the Bitcoin at first. That's why I always say study Bitcoin. Because once you do that, then everything else will make sense and you'll be able to maneuver. You know what I'm saying? And you'll understand things like market cap. So when people are on that Dodge pump, I hope you guys got out of that. I told you it's a pump. It's going to dump. You feel me? Why? Because for one, unlike Bitcoin, Dogecoin does not have a maximum supply. So if it doesn't have a maximum supply, anytime they print more, the value goes down because now you have to divide the total market cap, which is everything that is in there. Like right here, you can see Bitcoin market cap, almost $1 trillion, 977 billion, right? But there's only 21 million coins, only 19 million in circulation. So if they were to produce another 5 million coins, now you have to divide those coins by the market cap, and the price of per Bitcoin would go down. But Bitcoin is hard capped at 21 million, only 19 million so far in circulation. So that might be over some of your heads, but the bottom line is this. Just like the dollar goes down when you print it, if you have a coin that does not have a max supply, every time they produce more coins, the value of that coin goes down automatically. Not to mention that being compounded by the fact that people will sell off. So will Bitcoin fall back? Of course it will retrace. It's not just going to keep going straight up. It's going to pull back because you have to look at it like this. Bitcoin's never been 52,000 before. So that means no matter who bought Bitcoin, they're up right now. So some people, their goal was for it to make a certain amount, and now 52,000 per Bitcoin might be the amount that they decide they want to liquidate and take their profits. So because it's always reaching these new highs, of course it's going to pull back because virtually everyone is in the money. No one bought Bitcoin for higher than 52,000. So everyone is virtually in the profit right now. Think about that. So I'm going to get into this right here. It's called Building Black Wealth with Satoshis and Cash App. Now, Cash App, just to give you some quick, easy game, is the best place to buy Bitcoin from. You can't buy any other cryptos there, but if you know how to trade and exchange, then you could just buy the Bitcoin from Cash App, send it to your Coinbase or to I would prefer a different mobile wallet, Coinbase. But whatever. You could switch it around, you know what I'm saying? You can enjoy some of those pumps. You could turn some of that Bitcoin to Dogecoin when you think it's going to pump. Then it pumps, you trade it back to Bitcoin and take profit off it, whatever, however you want to do it. But I just want to get into this. And I just want to say that Cash App is a dope way to be able to deal with wealth when it comes to stocks, when it comes to crypto, when it comes to all different ways of integrating, finances and leveraging. Cash App to me is a godsend. And why I like Cash App is because the creator of Cash App, Jack Dorsey, who also owns Twitter and SquarePay, he's true to the Bitcoin fundamentals, and he's been doing a lot of different things, reaching out, working with people to help our particular demographic get hip to financial literacy and Bitcoin. He's worked with Isaiah Jackson. He's working with this person, Ian Gaines. He's worked with Megan the Stallion and others to bring this Bitcoin stuff to our people, understanding that wealth could be leveraged like this, and many other wealthy people have said the same because it can. You can look at it like this before I get into this article. So, like when the gold rush happened in the 1800s, first of all, a lot of our people weren't free, so we couldn't participate anyway. But then again, no matter who you were, if you didn't have the resources to pack up, to buy the equipment necessary to mine and head to California, you weren't going to benefit from that gold rush that made a lot of people rich. The oil boom, same thing. If you didn't have the money to relocate and to mine or drill for oil, you didn't have the resources to buy the equipment to do so, you missed out on the oil boom. What we have now with Bitcoin is a wealth transfer like never seen before on this planet, that all you need is a smartphone and internet. Period. You don't need a whole bunch of money. You can scale it to whatever you got. This is why I said before, I said this months ago, maybe a year ago. I said, look, just do this. Buy $10, $100, $1,000 worth of Bitcoin. Whatever number you could afford, because those will be easy numbers just to see the percentages of. I said buy, like, let's say $100 worth of Bitcoin, isolate $100 in your savings account, and watch them both for a month. The $100 is still going to be $100 in your savings accounts. That Bitcoin would likely be 130 or so. And then you'll understand what I mean when I'm saying, like, yo, it's a store of value. Then you understand, because your purchasing power is increasing while the dollar is not gaining anything. And really, when you hedge it against inflation and cost of living, it's losing 2% minimum every year. And then when they print more money, that's hyperinflation, because now the value of the dollar is going down even further. That's why it costs more dollars to buy the same amount of goods. Okay. So in this particular instance, we have now technology that we can leverage. See, back in the days to trade stocks, you have to have a broker, you have to have a guap to buy the whole stock. Now now you can fractionalize it. Oh, you don't have the whole 800 whatever for Tesla stock. Okay, what do you got? 200. Okay, cool. Doesn't matter. When it goes up 5%, your 200 goes up 5%. Same thing with the Bitcoin. So a lot of the resistance that I used to have back in the day would be from people who don't know what they're talking about. Because unfortunately, a lot of us don't care if we know what we're talking about. We just want to sound smart, so we just start spouting out stuff. And then we'll start making excuses not to do something based on our lack of knowledge. That's called being ignorant. So people would say, oh, I don't have 10,000. It's like when it was 10,000. We don't have no 10,000 to put on a Bitcoin. You don't have to have 10,000. But if you listen, you'd know that. Oh, there's other things. Listen, you don't need a bank. You don't need permission. Now let's get into this article. Okay, so this is Ian Gaines. In an environment that is proving less secure over time, we're giving more thought to the preservation and proper allocation of our wealth. I'm glad to hear that. But how does one participate in a system that continues to advantage people who are positioned nearest to the financial nucleus? Now, pay attention to this word. It's going to be a reoccurring theme, nucleus. How do you participate without apology or consequence? They can shut off the game. They can shut off a game they are inconveniently losing. How is it possible, and why is it the only system we are allowed to opt into if we want to generate wealth for our family? Right? So they can shut off the game at any time. You know that. They did that with the Robin Hood. We'll get into that later. And we're going to get into this. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to skip this part, but what makes this possible is the nucleus exists in the first place. A command center that can heavily dictate the flow of monetary energy is powerful enough to disregard the unified will of a majority in favor of protecting the interests of the nucleus. Talking about the financial system right now. It's going to make sense a little bit more later. Hold on. So when we say nucleus, we mean the central point of control where an outsider needs permission or equal influence to gain access to use. As a parent, you are the nucleus that controls the access and distribution of allowance to your children. The management team at the Robinhood app is the nucleus that can determine what stock users can buy on their platform because it's centralized. Okay. The U.S. Federal Reserve acts as the nucleus that controls the access and distribution of all printed U.S. dollars because it's centralized. There's one point of control, one point of manufacturing, one point of permission, one point of failure even for the system to be hacked or go down, meaning that they can hit a button and it's done. Oh, what? You're making money off Robinhood and our hedge fund billionaires on Wall Street is losing money and they're mad at us? Okay. We're going to hit a button. Now nobody could buy any more Robinhood stock because they didn't like the little people winning, despite their name being Robinhood, because they really work for hedge funds. And that's how all of these centralized platforms work. TD Trade, it doesn't even matter. Even Coinbase, that's how they operate. They're in it for profit. They're not decentralized. And yes, they can stop transactions from happening at any time. In a decentralized environment, when it comes to cryptocurrency, which is the principle of it, that doesn't happen. You could trade 24 hours. No one will stop you because no one is financially incentivized to stop a transaction. And in actuality, the Bitcoin miners are incentivized by confirming the transaction, but we won't go there right now. What I'm saying is it's permissionless. It's peer-to-peer. No one can stop it. You don't need no one can regulate what you can and when you can do it. Okay, so anyway, But what comes to those who live outside that nucleus, whose interests may not be in line or are considered to be opposed to the central power? This phenomenon, no matter how unwarranted, is regrettably routine in the black community. When the development of a self-sustaining black economy did not align with the interests of the nucleus, we got Tulsa, Oklahoma, 1921. We don't need to do a history lesson on that. I'm pretty sure anybody watching this right now is familiar with Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street. The resentment of black success drove a mob of 2,000 people to destroy an entire city, or entire section of a city, burning over 18,000 black homes. No one was prosecuted. The nucleus can even reach the level of government. Generations of blacks were denied wealth with the passing of FHA's 1934 National Housing Act. That federally funded initiative provided mortgages or mortgage credit to working class families to build wealth through home ownership. It was a success, but due to strategic redlining and zoning laws that governed where loans were allocated, highly black populated areas were all denied. And here's a quote: Bitcoin is the answer that allows individuals anywhere on the earth the freedom to validate themselves. Why? Because all you need to operate within Bitcoin is a smartphone or a computer and internet. You don't need a bank to maneuver with crypto. You can still access wealth. You can still receive wealth, send wealth, store wealth, participate in the global economy without a bank. So if you figure 2 billion people on the planet are unbanked, then that alone is the potential of this Bitcoin in this cryptocurrency realm. The 2 billion unbanked, if they knew about cryptocurrency, they wouldn't even need a bank. In some countries, banks are not easy to maintain because they're so corrupt and such high fees. Even here in America, I know a lot of people who still only have prepaid debits because whatever, access to credit isn't equal. But Bitcoin equalizes that. It leverages, it equals the playing field. This is why when you look on the top left of my screen, you see me saying that, what CryptTalk Podcast does is give information about cryptocurrency and blockchain technology that you don't see on the mainstream media, yet. The reason you don't see it on the mainstream media, even though you're seeing it more and more, is because it would be a conflict of interest for a media outlet to promote Bitcoin wholeheartedly when Bitcoin is a threat to the banks that sponsor their programs. So you'll see it more and more, and you're seeing it more and more now because so many of these big wigs like these Teslas and MicroStrategies and Grayscale and a whole bunch of companies that we've never heard of that's buying billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin, because what they're going to do is custody that Bitcoin. In other words, they're going to make stocks, they're going to make retirement programs, they're going to make different ways to basically rent you the service of saying you own Bitcoin, kind of like Robinhood does with their crypto. You don't really own the crypto, it's a stock. That same type of principle is now happening at a rapid pace as these institutional investors get into Bitcoin, which is making it more scarce. But there's a difference between having a derivative or a Bitcoin stock and actually having Bitcoin. We're not going to get into that right now. But these are lessons that you need to know. So if anything I'm saying is over your head, that means you need to do some studying. And I suggest you probably watch CryptTalk Podcast or whatever other kind of research that you think you should do. Okay? So let's get back to this. In a 1941 memo, FHA concluded the rapidly rising Negro population has produced a problem in the maintenance of real estate values. They determined that the only good neighborhood that deserved funding was one that prevented inharmonious racial groups. The fine print did not give us a chance, and it showed. Between 1934 and 1968, 98% of the $120 billion of federally funded loans went exclusively to white homeowners, a dynamic that only is compounded today. So in other words, equal access to wealth has not been afforded. Because home ownership is something that you can pass down generation to generation. It gives you a hedge to being able to accumulate generational wealth. So if we were locked out of doing that systematically, it put us at a deficit. But what can't be, and things like this Bitcoin. Let me explain something. Like even when you watch CryptTalk Podcast or other good crypto channels on YouTube, understand that a lot of that information, especially when it comes to what these banks are doing now with crypto, The reason you don't see it on the mainstream, because a lot of that information wasn't meant for the public. A lot of those are leaked documents that banks would send to their high-end billionaire clients, telling them, hey, start getting into this Bitcoin. Even if you're on Twitter, you'll notice that some of these big hedge funds or some of these big wigs like Elon Musk and Michael Saylor and MicroStrategies, they were having rare conversations in the open about how to convert their Bitcoin to balance sheets on for their businesses. That's rare. A lot of the stuff goes on behind closed doors, and sometimes it gets leaked, or sometimes it's just if you kind of understand the game, you just know what's going on. It was no surprise when Tesla bought that 1.5 billion to me. I knew that was in the making for a minute because I seen some of the conversations he was having, and I knew his position on Bitcoin anyway. It wasn't a surprise to me when I started seeing more and more financial institutions buying Bitcoin up by the hundreds of millions or the billions. I knew it was coming. I know that most of them already had it before they announced it. The only ones that announced it are the companies that are public because they have to. The other ones that are doing it on the private that aren't publicly listed businesses, they're not gonna. They don't have to tell you. So this is something that they're doing that they know is going to generate wealth, and it's something that we're low or that we're late to the game on. Just to be simple, just buy Bitcoin. Period. Just do that and hold it. The average return is like 230% a year. Your bank ain't doing that. Your bank is doing 1/4%. 1/4%, not 1%, 1/4%. So just holding it alone is good. Anybody I know who I've been speaking to personally that knows me that has Bitcoin is up right now on said Bitcoin. Facts. Okay. What I'm saying is like it's just funny. That's why I shared that thing I shared yesterday. When Bitcoin was 1,000, nobody wanted to listen. Bitcoin was 4,000. I was there telling you, nobody was interested. Bitcoin was 7,000. No one was interested. Bitcoin was 10,000. No one was interested. Bitcoin was 15,000, 20,000, 25,000, 30,000, 35,000, 40,000, 45,000. Not a peep. All of a sudden it's 50,000. Everybody's jumping on like, yes, Bitcoin, yeah. First of all, pay some respect to where you got the game from. Number one. You know what I'm saying? Number two, yeah. I'm glad it's better late than never, I guess. Anyway, let's go. So the problem with the nucleus is that if it has questionable morals, you have to keep monitoring it to make sure that it's not acting selfishly. It's draining, unsustainable, and ultimately fruitless if your sphere of influence does not match the nucleus. I might not have trusted the nucleus of I don't know what that is, eukaryotic cell if it outlived my own body. So anyway, so basically what this is about in short, before I get to the next little subject is, look, I'm glad to see that there's more black people getting into it, and that's actually putting this information out, and that's making it more relevant in our community, even though we're late to the game. Even though a lot of people are speaking a lot of stuff where they really should just, take it down a notch and soak up the game. You know what I'm saying? Because it's deep. It's deeper than just the fact that you yourself can personally benefit. Okay? It's deeper than the fact that you can actually shut down their banking system. The only reason why the banking systems, I told you like a year ago, the Federal Reserve is done. The only reason why they're going to prolong their life is because now they're creating their own crypto. And let me show you the game with that. So now all these major central banks and governments and even corporations are starting to create their own cryptocurrencies, their own digital assets. They're doing this, especially the banks, and also the banks are now also legally can custody crypto. The reason they're doing this is because if they didn't, and if people really learn how to deal with crypto on their own, they would not need a bank. So banks would be useless. That's why now they have lobbied for the right to be able to hold cryptocurrency on your behalf, meaning that soon you'll be able to call your bank and say, hey, I want 1,000. Can you transfer 1,000 of my money to Bitcoin? You won't actually own Bitcoin. It will be a derivative that they actually own, but the percentages will still go up. You'll just probably have to pay more fees, and it's all the same for most people. But once you get kind of more savvy with it, you want your own crypto. You don't want somebody holding it on your behalf. So that's the only thing that's going to save these banks, and that's the only reason why United States and other countries that are now dealing with crypto are doing it, because they have to, because the people won. The people won. That's what crypto means. The people have won. This was created for people to have more power over their finances, more sovereignty over their finances, and to be able to generate wealth and to have a currency that wasn't created or controlled by an authority figure like the government. It's us doing it. That's what it is. It's organic. So a lot of people, I hear a lot of conspiracy theories about Bitcoin. It's created by the CIA. Shut up. Okay, it wasn't created by no damn CIA. There would be no incentive for the CIA to create a currency that's going to crash the system that keeps them afloat. The people won. They have no choice but to come to this, because to not do so would mean that their whole financial system would crumble. That's why they had such a problem with Facebook announcing they wanted to create a cryptocurrency, because Facebook has 2 billion people under their platforms. And if they create their own currency and people trade their native currencies for the Facebook token, Facebook becomes the richest, most wealthiest, most powerful entity when it comes to money management in the world. They can't have that. Okay? Understand that. Now let me show you some game real quick. This is DeFi, decentralized finance. This is a protocol called Compound. This is going to go over a lot of people's head, but you'll get the, you'll get the principle of it. So, okay, I'm gonna make this one personal a little bit, so I could give you an example of how this works. All right, so, and I've showed this before on CryptTalk Podcast. So basically, what this is, a protocol where you could either lend or borrow money. So when banks, when you have your money in a bank, banks will collectively take that money and loan it out. Oh, you want a credit card? Bam, 6%, 7%, 19%. Oh, you want a car loan? You want a house loan? That's what they do. They take that collective money they have and they loan it out for interest. Meanwhile, you're only getting 0.25% holding your money, and that's the money that they're using to loan out. Well, DeFi flips the script. Now you're the bank. Now you can take money. I'll show you these percentages right here. These type of coins that you could. So this is a total supply APY, and annual percentage yearly. Total borrow APY. So this is just like how much Ether is in the whole system, which is 2.4 billion, because 2,400 million is 2.4 billion, right? So there's 2.4 billion Ethereum total supplied in this particular protocol. If you loan it out, you're going to get 0.18%, which is garbage. That's how much is being borrowed, and this is how much the people that are borrowing have to pay back, 2.8%, which is a lot cheaper than most banks, right? Then you have something like DAI stable token. You can supply it, meaning that, the same way you keep your money in a bank and the bank borrows out the money and gets percentages, well, you could do it yourself with a DAI stable token, and you'll be getting 8% APR just holding your money there. Don't worry, it's safe, and your payback is guaranteed. You can keep it as long as you want, because on the other side, people who are borrowing, they're putting up collateral, and then they have to pay back 11%. So you're getting 8%, and then the protocol is getting the 3% on top, basically. So the way it works is this, and here's the different coins and different kind of APRs you can get for supplying it. If you use the USD coin, like I said, this goes over your head. If you don't know nothing about none of these coins, because if you don't know nothing about Bitcoin, don't even listen to this right now. Just understand what I'm saying, because you don't have no business dealing with any of these other coins if you don't understand Bitcoin first. Once you understand Bitcoin, you'll be able to deal with any of these coins. That's why I always say learn Bitcoin first. Don't be shifting people to XRP and Ethereum. Don't even worry about none of that until you really understand Bitcoin. Period. Don't get too lost in the sauce trying to do too much. All right, I'm telling you these jewels that I've learned over time and putting my research and money into learning these things. So I'm giving you game. And to tell you the truth, listen, Bitcoin is so scarce. I really shouldn't even be going on my way to tell y'all this about how you could leverage off this Bitcoin, because it's really too scarce. I should just be grabbing all the Bitcoin I can. Then you guys can jump on it when it's 300,000, and then you're whatever. But I got love for you anyway. So if you loan this particular coin, you'll get 12%, and then if you borrow it, you have to pay back 15%. Right? This is APR. Now the way these work is like this. Like, this is why I'm going to tell you, like, whatever you supply or loan to be borrowed is guaranteed. Why? Because in order to borrow on the borrow side, you have to put up collateral. For instance, let's say, so Ether is about 1,900 right now. So let's say you put up 2 Ethereum tokens, which would be about $4,000, right? For collateral. You could borrow 75% of that. So that would be about 3,000, right? So you could put up 4,000 worth of Ether, lock it up. It's still yours. It's just locked up in the protocol, safe. Then you could borrow $3,000 worth of one of these tokens. So, like, let's say you wanted to borrow $3,000 off of one of these other tokens here that has a low payback percentage, like perhaps Ether, like perhaps whatever. So now what happens is, say your payback is 2.8%. So if you had $3,000 out of the 4,000 you have in collateral, you have 25% leeway right there, right? So as long as over the years that 2% doesn't add up to enough fees that's going to eclipse the 4,000 you have in collateral, you're good. You can make your payments whenever you want. You can wait 3 years and then just pay it all off, or you can pay it back every month, however you want to do it. There's no protocol that's going to tell you have to make a payment, you're late for payment, just as long as that 2% doesn't end up eating up $1,000 of your leeway. Because once it gets close to that, the protocol is going to execute the trade to pay you back the difference. That's what I'm saying. So basically, you could put up collateral to borrow to deal some. You have to make some moves. You want to make some other investments, blah blah, bring it back, pay it back. You're good. So that's how come when you're loaning it on the other end, it's guaranteed because somebody had to put up collateral. So you don't have to have no set amount of time you have to keep it in there. These are just different flips. So for instance, I just did a post about how it's going to cost me like $2,300 to fix my car, right? So it's being worked on right now. If I wanted to, I could take 2 Ethereum, right? 1,800 each. I could shoot over 2 Ethereum, which is going to be about 4,000. I could borrow 3,000 against that, use that to take care of the car, and then I could just pay back. I could basically finance myself to do it without losing any of my crypto. These are the kind of moves that you can make. These are the kind of moves that exist, and these are the kind of moves that you're going to see banks offer you soon. But they're not going to give you the percentages that I'm showing you right now because they're in it for the money. But if you don't know you could do this on your own, you're not going to have a choice. And guess what? Because only 1.7% of people on this planet own Bitcoin, that means the other 98%, as they get ushered in by the mainstream media, they're going to get ushered into these bank protocols and these government and these corporate protocols that are going to be doing. They're going to only do what already exists right now, but they're just going to make it maybe a little easier and more expensive for you to do it. It will still be a more efficient, innovative way for 98% of people to maneuver. It's just that if you know better, you'll do better, and you'll be able to do it in a way that will benefit you a lot more. That you can do it directly and control it directly. You won't need any permission, and it will be cheaper and more lucrative on your end. But these are the things that you're going to see come through. This is why I've been telling y'all, learn about this shit right now, because I know it's coming. Not because I'm a genius or a what do you call that? A foreseer. It's because I understand this and I understand business and I understand economics and I understand the motives of banks and corporations and governments. I know it's coming, and I haven't been wrong yet. None of the coins that I have are down. Every single crypto I have is up because I know how to evaluate what makes a good crypto. And because I do the podcast on YouTube, I keep abreast of the type of information that will allow me to know things before they happen, because this stuff isn't going on the mainstream. So I already knew that some of these celebrities and these sports people were dealing with crypto in one kind of way. I've been reporting on it for years now. Stuff that you would think that you would have seen on the mainstream. I know the different partnerships that are being created by banks and governments and corporations with different cryptos and or blockchains around the world. That's not making the mainstream, because for it to be on the mainstream would give people the idea of where this thing is going, and it will allow more people to get set up in position earlier. And it would thwart their ability to be able to fool the masses later when they put their fugazi protocols and cryptos out there. And people ain't going to know the difference. But guess what? If you're listening to this, you have an advantage right now. Do what you want with the game, okay? Consultations, by the way, CryptTalk Podcast at Gmail. So in essence, as I ended, I'm gonna say this, 'cause I know a lot of people when they don't like my flow. They think I'm stunting, they think I'm flexing, they think I'm arrogant, they think I'm an asshole. All that could be true. Who gives a damn? You're either gonna take the spill or you don't, because it's not gonna make a difference to me. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Whether you all get involved or not, it doesn't matter to me. It matters to you. I'm showing you the game. Real recognize real. You either get down with it or you're gonna just be complaining later on. Because remember, I told you about Bitcoin when it was 4,000. Wasn't interested. Now that it's over 10 times that, oh, how do I get Bitcoin? Where's the best place for get? Okay, whatever, man. Relate to the show. Listen, it doesn't matter to me either way. Because you know why it doesn't matter? Because the nature of cryptocurrency is so independent and self-sovereign that it don't matter what anybody else does. You can still do your thing. It don't matter if everybody hates me. They can't stop me from doing what I do with this. It doesn't matter if you listen to it or not. I don't need your little $50 that I charge for consultations. I don't need none of that. I'm good. Why am I good? Because I understand this. Because I put in the work and the time and the money to learn this and understand this. And I worked with it from nothing to be in a lot better position. And it's only compounding. Straight up. So I'm not flexing when I show you these things. I'm actually just trying to inspire you and show you something and show you the game. How you take it is on you. And how you take it will determine, what kind of conversations you're having next year. When you're begging, how come I didn't get that stimulus? I need that stimulus. Oh, God. That 2,000. He said that's 2,000. Fuck all. I don't give a fuck about. I want it, though. Don't get it twisted. But it's not going to change my life either way. Get that 1,400, that 2,000, cool. I could use it. Damn sure I can. But it's not going to make a difference. Why? Because I put myself in a position where I don't need that. I put myself in a position where I know how to make my money work for itself. And it's all relative. You're not going to get rich overnight. If all you have is a couple hundred to mess with, that couple hundred is going to stretch. You do the right thing. It's not about the money. It's about making the right decisions. And then you could always scale it up. That's why I said, just buy $10 worth, just so you'll learn it, just so you understand it. Then you'll see those gains. So, okay, your $10 just gained 30%. Cool. Now you're at $13. Awesome. Now imagine if that was $1,000 or $10,000, and you'll be able to compound that. It's about making the right decisions more so than the amount, because you can always scale it up when you know the game. And then you understand different things like, hey, we can have our own coin. We actually do already. There's a couple black coins, but we could have our own coin. We could create our own currency, and even if we don't, just maneuvering with this crypto is still going to give us the collective economic leverage when we're keeping our money within our own people. And then we have these different companies and individuals that's holding their balance in crypto. That's why I don't even hold money in US dollars. Hardly. I keep it in assets that appreciate in value. One more thing you do with this crypto. Couple things. There's different coins that you can stake. I showed you a screen share before. There's different coins you can stake for 9%. Some of them even 17%, but those are garbage coins I wouldn't necessarily recommend. Some of them like 5%, 10%, whatever. Meaning that instead of holding in the bank at 0.25%, just holding that crypto automatically will start generating you 9% APR. Plus, the crypto is increasing in value. So the Cosmos, for instance, I'm just going to give you a quick little example. When I started getting Cosmos, it was like $3 a coin, actually less than that. Now it's at 25. Plus, I'm gaining 9% APR holding it. There's so many licks like that in this crypto world. It's ridiculous. This is why they're not going to put on the mainstream until they figure like they own all the crypto, or they own the means, or they own the message to steer you to go to what they want you to go to. This is why you need to learn this. CryptTalk Podcast, blockchain, crypto gang, CryptTalk Podcast at Gmail. Get laced up. This went a little bit longer than I want, but we call this Black History Month. Black empowerment through Bitcoin, all that fly shit. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you're not watching this on CryptTalk Podcast, make sure you subscribe to CryptTalk Podcast on YouTube. Check out the stories that I share. It's all game. Also, if by chance you're into Carrot Bars, Freebay, GSB, you're losing. And I told you would lose. But those are scams. Beware of those scams. Get the game. Get laced up. Appreciate your time. Peace.